Hello, students. This is Mr. Martirone. We are continuing our discussion of the Industrial Revolution. This is going to be our final installment. In your notes, you want to jot down, we're going to talk about these three following topics. Number one, we're going to talk about the struggle for survival during the Industrial Revolution. We're going to talk about a new social class called the proletariat. And finally, we're going to talk about a new economic theorist called Karl Marx and the rise of socialism. All right, so the first things we want to talk about is we want to talk around the adaptability to survive. So during the Industrial Revolution, there were new ways of thinking that helped shape humans' understanding of life. There were also profound medical advancements. Don't discount a lot of the scientific community. We've seen it kind of as the backbone throughout many time periods. We've seen it during the Renaissance when the scientific revolution took off, and we're going to see it now as scientists try and find fact patterns on illnesses and sicknesses and diseases. One of the foremost scholars in this area was a man by the name of Charles Darwin. And Jared's going to talk a little bit about Charles Darwin and his theory that developed during the age of industrialization.
So in the late 19th century, Charles Darwin developed his theory of evolution. He wrote the book on the origin of species, and he argued that animals adapt over time in order to survive. Now, what that means is that animals have to adapt to their current ecosystem to survive. So pretty much what happens is that the weak die off. Now, what he said is that the animals could not adapt quickly enough and they would eventually die out through what he called natural selection. Now, natural selection actually influenced the free market. Many people, many monopolies actually, um, used natural selection to argue for them, to say that only the strong could live and only and all the weak died off. So pretty much what that is saying is that everybody that's weak will just die and only the strong will move forward.
Excellent, Jared. Thank you. So, reiterating his point, Darwin kind of reinforces the ideas of capitalism. The idea that if you want to create a business, sure, but if you want to stay in business, it's going to be the strong businesses, the business that flourish, the businesses that make money. They're going to be the businesses that stay in business. And the weaker businesses will eventually go bankrupt. They will go out of business. For example, take a look at mom and pop shops around the country. Mom and pop shops are great. They have a small town charm, but in reality, if you want a product cheap, you go to a big business. You don't go to, the Hallmark store for cards. You go to a bigger, more industrialized store for cards. Another example could be clothes. Okay, you don't go to the local mom and pop store that's right around the corner from you. You'll order a big name brand from a company like J. Crew or Abercrombie or Express. So again, that parallels the viewpoints of Charles Darwin. That takes us to the growth of the middle class. All right, and you guys can put this down under the proletariat, which is going to be coming up shortly. So during the middle class, families live in solid, well-furnished homes. Okay, they dress well, eat large meals. The middle class men are very influential in government and parliament and business. Additionally, middle class women are encouraged to become ladies. That's where we have women becoming a little bit more fine with etiquette during the Victorian age. Also, values of hard work and determination to get ahead. And that's kind of a big one, saying that government isn't going to help you, but the individual. The harder you work, the stronger, the more likely you are to get ahead. And then the final value of the middle class is that they have little sympathy for the poor. Going off of what Darwin says is that if you're in the middle class, if you're working hard, you will succeed, you will get ahead. And if you're poor, it's because you're choosing to be poor. It's because you're not working hard enough to get out of poverty.
So as you see here, Darwin's work had so much gravity that it impacted places where some people might not even think of. So this there was no more sympathy for the poor, and in the eyes of these people, the poor were the weak. So they thought, hey, the poor aren't going to advance anyway, so we don't have to help them. They only want themselves to advance.
Now, you guys may have seen this chart before. This is the growing class. During the Industrial Revolution, everyone in France or Great Britain belonged to one of these three social classes. Okay, you have the wealthy up at the top. You have the bourgeoisie. Notice they used to be kind of the top of the bottom. Now, because the middle class has expanded, the bourgeoisie has moved up. Now we have this new working class called the proletariat.
So what the proletariat is, um, you can think of it as the modern day low class. So during the Industrial Revolution, the middle class expanded and the working class grew poor. Now, what that's saying is that the average working class became poorer and poorer, and a big contributing factor to that was mass production. In these factories, factory workers were hardly paid anything. Some were paid less than $1 a day in current currency, and um, that was all because of mass production and monopolies trying to gain power over the weak. So, what Karl Marx, what he argued was that the only way to end the class system was for the proletariat to rise up and smash the ruling class. Now, you might see the word proletariat and think of the word proles, which is actually the district in um, the poorest district in the novel 1984 by George Orwell. Um, so as it's the poorest
Well, Jared, that was very insightful, and thank you for joining us on this Flip Classroom. If you guys need to watch the video again, please do so. I would make sure you have these three Cornell note pieces in your notes. Very important, and we are going to talk in depth. We're going to compare Karl Marx versus Adam Smith in our future classes. All right, so we'll see you next time in class as we continue our discussion of the Industrial Revolution.